more about fishing these days. I'm learning more and more about flipping soft plastic stick baits and soft plastics in general. And one thing I found out is that these tungsten sinkers that we're using these days, it has a real hard edge on it. And some guys put an insert in it. I do that as well. But one thing I've learned is that doesn't always work. And when you're leaning on a 7-8 pound fish, you've been flipping for a long time, you hadn't had a bite, your adrenaline's surged up, and all of a sudden, especially with a snell knot, you lean on that fish and your line just cuts off. And you're like, what in the world happened? So I figured out a little neat trick. It saves a lot of time. Also saves you from having to put inserts in your sinker. So you go ahead and you put a bobber stop on the front. Show you how I did that in a second. You put a bobber stop on the front. You go ahead and slide your sinker on as such, your tungsten sinker. Then I take another bobber stop. Same old thing. You run your line through it. You pull the bobber stop on it. Then you slide it up out of the way for the time being. Now your sinker's trapped. But what you've created is you've created a protecting device to keep that line from breaking or cutting off on that hard corner that sinker makes as the line comes through, and it makes a 90-degree angle on the snell knot. So when you tie your snell knot, you've got protection against that 90-degree angle. That is a time saver. You're not retying because you broke off, you didn't lose that $100,000 fish. And you don't have to worry about it cutting your line off. You can bring it on down. Snell still works perfectly. See how that snell works? Still kicks that hook out, which is what you want. But the line and the knot is protected. That sinker can't cut that line off because that tip of that bobber stopper is up in the sinker hole, so it will not cut it off. You lean on it all you want, you're going to get your fish. Then go ahead and trim off your excess. Rig up your lure and go lean on one. That's what we like, leaning on them.